Okay, so if you listened to my last show, I was trying to decide what to do for the barrel swap on my second AR because I don't like the barrel that is in this AR-15. I'm calling this AR-15 the M16E4 Moon Tiger, and the reason that I'm going with that name is because I've decided to put a 20-inch barrel in this thing. I already have a pretty long handguard. It'll cover the full gas system of a rifle length barrel. I can get a rifle length Faxon barrel pretty cheap. That's what we're going with. I like this idea. I like having a 20-inch gun. I like the ballistics of it. I went and looked at all of the caliber options, and I could not come up with a thing to get that would be better than a 20-inch 5.56. And my thought is basically that we don't know what kind of ammunition we're going to have. So longer barrel with 5.56, the better. 20 inch is about the sweet spot. I'm putting a red dot on this and a flashlight. This is a carbine. Like this is a modernized Vietnam era M16 kind of a thing. I really like the idea of this. Uh, I don't know what else I'm going to be doing yet. I have some things floating around in my head. A bayonet lug would be cool, and that is available. But if I go with a 20-inch barrel, it kind of kills that idea. So if I did the bayonet lug, I'd have to do a 16-inch barrel because otherwise my bayonet would have barrel sticking out over it. I'm not happy with that. Do I need a bayonet? I have one. It would be cool, and the Geisley adapter is cool. I could get a 16-inch barrel, I guess, and do a bayonet lug, but that would be the only reason I would not do the 20-inch. That seems like a silly reason. The other thing is, I've decided I'm definitely going to do a front post sight ring, which is an in-force light with a ring on it that has a front sight post on it. I think it'll give it kind of a cool sci-fi look. I like the idea of a fixed front sight. Um, Other than that, I think basically every internal component of the gun I'm going to replace. I'm going to do a bolt carrier group from somebody else. Just replace the whole damn thing. I'm going to do a buffer. I'm either going to leave the buffer that's in it, or I'm going to do the silent capture spring. I don't know. I go back and forth on that. Trigger wise, I my heart says to go with a Geisley, but my head says to go with a ALG ACT. And then muzzle brake. I like the ALG Sidewinder, and it's only $45, and it looks kind of cool. So I'm gonna put one of those on it. I don't think it needs it, but I'm making a sci-fi blaster. The 20-inch barrel would be fucking dope. The bayonet lug would be fucking dope. I wish I could get those two things together and have it make sense and look right. I guess I could do an 18-inch barrel on a bayonet lug, but even then, that's quite a bit of barrel hanging out past the fucking bayonet. Other things, I want to do a 3 times magnifier. I already know which one I'm going to get. It's the Vortex, like Vortex Micro 3 power or something like that. It's a good magnifier. I looked into it. What was that, about a year ago? Trying to decide if I wanted to get one or not for this. I don't want to spend that money, but at the same time, I think if I do the 20-inch barrel, I'm going to need some sort of magnification, and I don't want to give up a red dot. So that's probably going to happen too. Um, I want to put red lasers on most of my guns, and my thought is it's cheap, you can see it, and you can see it really well in night vision. So it's sort of like making all your guns night vision capable for the cost of a fucking Crimson Trace laser. I like that idea. I'm going to do that at least on this gun and the Fluctuator. If I can figure out a way to do it on Loki, I'm probably going to do it on that one too. Uh, I'm going to get a Manta tack wrap. I think I already said that in the last video, but that's still going to happen. If you don't know about the Manta tack wrap, it's like a silicone hot pad that bolts onto your gun. It's really nice to hang on to. And I'm going to put it in between my vertical grip and the end of the gun. I kind of have a spot for it in between the rail at the end of the gun and the vertical grip rail that I think it'll fit in. That'll be nice. I really thought about going to 6.5 Grendel, but I just can't justify spending that kind of money on ammo. 5.56 is much cheaper and more available. And I think if I'm going to spend the money on a barrel, there should be some sort of point to it. And that's why I was looking at caliber conversion. Is because I'm buying enough of this gun that it would be free to convert calibers. I'm buying the barrel and the bolt carrier group and the buffer. At that point, you could change out the entire caliber of this gun pretty much. Oh, 9mm would be cool, but it's underpowered. 300 blackout would be cool, but I don't want to mix in fucking another caliber of ammo just for 300 blackout when I don't have a suppressor. And I'm going with a longer barrel, if anything, which to me, I want lighter weight ammo, which is 5.56. The 20-inch barrel conversion makes sense to me more than anything else. Keeping it at 16, I can see that argument. It would make it a handier carbine. It would make the bayonet lug make more sense. I don't know. That's where I'm at on it. Is pretty much we're going with a Faxon barrel, and it's going to be 16 to 20 inches. Everything else is kind of up for grabs. And really, sticking in 5.56 just makes everything cheaper and easier and lighter. I think it's the way to go. As cool as a gun and something other than 5.56 would be, which it really would be, to have something that, I only own a couple of guns right now. It would be cool to have an AR-15 in 5.56 and an AR-15 in something that hit harder. I don't think there's any real reason to do that, basically. There's no caliber that I could get in this thing that would justify it. If I could get 308 to fit in this gun, I could do that. But that's, a significantly different thing. And really, 6.5 Grendel is pretty damn close. It's as close as you're going to get 308 that fits in this package. Well, those are my thoughts on the Moon Tiger. Basically at the point I'm at right now, I'm just waiting on money. There's probably a good $1,000 I want to dump into this thing, and I'm gonna have to do it like $100 at a time. But it gives me something to project on. Honestly, I kind of missed slowly upgrading an AR-15, so we'll be doing that. I didn't really want to sink money into upgrading an AR, but I think after looking at this gun, some parts of it are pretty desperately in need of upgrading. The bolt carrier group and the barrel are the heart and soul of your gun. And I don't like the barrel or the bolt carrier group on this gun. And those are really cheap enough fixes. The barrel's going to be a little over $100. Bolt carrier group, I'm going to get a Palmetto State Armory, I think. They're doing a thing right now where you can get 10 mags and a bolt carrier group and something else for $130. That might be the next thing I get. Just to be honest. It would be bitching to have some more mags. I have like 15 or so right now between two guns. Adding another 10 to that would be really nice. There's a shitload of other stuff that I need to do too, prep-wise. Really, guns are kind of low on the list, but at this point, I really want this thing finished and squared away because of some of the shit going on in the world. So it's sort of like I've ignored guns as a thing to prep for the last year and a half or 2 years. They recently floated back up to the top because I was projecting on the Fluxrator, and it's easy to start spending money when you spend a little bit of money on parts. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Is like I just spent $100 on some parts for the Fluxrator, and I'm needing to spend more money on some things for it and some things for this. And I got the bug again, I guess. Like fucking customizing and making rifles is a disease. And I've had this AR-15 sitting here, not really knowing what I was going to do with it. And I got inspired on the paint job. And that's something I think a lot of people don't realize is a lot of the stuff that I do for myself, especially, I don't just do it. Like I get inspired and think about things for a really long time and think about how colors work together and shit. And I wanted a gray rifle and I decided that I was going to green tiger stripe it. And the reason I had gray rifles originally was because it really works well with night vision and urban camo and shit. And I said back then I was fighting moon Nazis. In reality, I was fucking in Mexico with a fucking Mandalorian skull on the side of a lightweight AR-15. You know, so like that's some shit that like it throws me back to those days. And I like the gray. And the gray and green I think is really going to work under night vision. I don't know when I'm going to get night vision. That is, even further away than this thing being built. I want a PVS 7, and really, I should probably figure out how I'm going to do that. It's one of those things that I could probably gather up enough shit around here to sell and get a PVS 7 if I wanted to, but like, I like my stuff. I could go get a job and make more money and pay for PVS 7s and other things, but to be honest, I don't really need to at the moment. And I'm enjoying being poor. I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but it's what I'm choosing to do right now. It doesn't have to make sense to you. I have a handful of things that I want in the world that maybe all told come together to maybe $4,000 or $5,000 worth of shit. I will get those over the next 2 to 3 years if I do nothing. Okay. The reason that I will is because of investments mostly. Like I like to say to people all the time that really past me is a really cool motherfucker. I would encourage you to be that way too. Think about yourself in the future whenever you buy things or whenever you do things with money and do them in such a way as to set yourself up for future success. What I really like to do is find things that are going to be unobtainium someday and buy them in large quantities and then sit on them. One of my greatest scores ever was on French Berthier 5-round stripper clips. I got them for free. And a couple years later, I sold them for ridiculous money, like $45 a piece. And that was a fucking 5-gallon bucket of them. And that's the kind of thing that, like, you know, thanks past me. That's what I tend to do. Like, I don't see a reason really to do much else because there is no reason to do much else. Like, I've managed to do this my entire life. my goal at this point basically is to find something that I could do to get some benefits maybe that I can stand doing that provides a little bit of constant cash flow. Then I'll have to do that kind of thing less. However, I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. So I'm a pirate and on a fucking, low ship I'm riding right now. People say a fucking tall ship and a star to steer her by. I want a low, low ship. I want a really low ship that no one can fucking see. I want a submarine. That's where I'm at. I'm a pirate with a land submarine. I the only thing I really want out of life, money can't buy. I think that's the thing a lot of people don't understand about me. I had $28,000 in my hand earlier this year. Okay, like I really, if I wanted to buy it, I did. Okay, like I'm a man of or woman of simple taste. That's gonna take a long time to get used to. I still fuck up misgendering myself. So if you misgender someone, don't feel that bad. But yeah, the things that I want in life, money really can't buy. Okay, uh, flat out, I bought everything I wanted. There's a few gun parts that I'd like to have for this thing. There's a couple of pocket knives I'd like to have. But I don't need those things. Like, I basically like obsessing over buying those because that's what I enjoy. I live for the thrill of the hunt and the conquest of saving up for something. It gives me a thing to strive towards. And as such, you know, I rather like building up cheap AR-15s. That doesn't cost any money at all, basically. I really like modding out fucking beater minivans. That doesn't really cost money at all, really. Like the things that I want in life, if I had $1 billion, some of that shit, yeah, I'd like that, but there's no way for me to get any of that, basically. I'd like my own fucking submarine and my own fucking little airport with some World War II planes in it, like Tom Cruise. Okay? I think most people would, even if they don't fly. And this is the issue is I know that I could have that if I wanted it. Literally, I could have anything that I wanted. I've been there in my life. Like I wanted quad tube night vision. I wore it on my fucking head. I owned it and I played with it. I'm telling you, if I want it, it's mine. Doesn't really fucking matter. And that's kind of the thing with a lot of this is when you don't know what you want anymore, how do you decide what you want? And what I like is the thrill of adventure, the thrill of the chase, and that kind of a thing. And as such, I very much like what I'm doing now. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow or the next day. I don't know what I'm going to be doing later this afternoon. I will, at some point, come back here and smoke and watch TV and talk to you again. But honestly, I haven't been doing that for a few days because I've been between living life, getting high, and painting. I've been doing a lot of shit. Like I tried to talk about some of that in one of my podcasts. What was it last night? I was talking about this same thing. It was the podcast before this one. I was trying to decide what I was going to do on this, and it ended up me being high on air, just kind of talking in circles about 9 mil versus 5.56, and I decided to cut it off. I decided to cut that off there because it's like that's a peek into what I do a lot of the time, in my head. When I have something that I'm really trying to decide, everything that I'm watching or doing or whatever, in reality, is that person that you saw there going back and forth between 9 mil and 5.56. I'm weighing the shit in my head pretty heavily as to whether or not that's something I want to do. The thing that I think is sad are the people that are convinced that basically they have to do what they're doing. It's, either they have a family, and those people I can respect, but the people I can't respect are the ones that don't even have dependents or whatever. They're just blindly doing this because they need to be a somebody. And the way you're a somebody is when someone says you are, and they say you are when you work for X, Y, or Z or do whatever. That's a bunch of bullshit. You can be whatever you want to be just sitting in the woods alone. Like this is the thing I think most people need to fucking get through their heads. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, you are still a monkey sitting alone in some trees in the woods. You need to be happy with that monkey at the end of the day. And if what makes that monkey happy to you is having a 9 to 5 job and fucking supporting a family, cool. But you need to know that's not everybody. There's some of us that you know, we got the devil in us. That's what's wrong with me. I hear stories about fucking like Jesse James and shit, and I'm like, yeah, I sympathize because it seems to be that everyone back in the day said he had the devil in him. In reality, he was like me. He was stubborn as shit, and he was tired of people's bullshit and being told what to do. That's where I am at. That's where most people are at. I think I'm a Hunter S. Thompson fan in the gun community, which is an oddball. Most people in the gun community are not Hunter S. Thompson fans. And this is half of why my girlfriend when she met me fell in love with me is I'm a rare thing and she was too, believe it or not. She was a Hunter S. Thompson fan that had never played with guns. I was a Hunter S. Thompson fan that basically had never played with drugs. And we did some beautiful things together basically. I want that. I want true freedom and I want adventure. I want love. If I can't have that, then what's the point? And I think that's where most of you should be. Why do I have to be a slave to some corporation just to exist and to have a standard of living that, I would like to have? Why is that? Is that the way it was 100 years ago? Nope. And this is my thing is no one here has a long enough memory to remember how things were 100 years ago. And as such, there were bad things 100 years ago. There's bad things now. I get that. But what I'm saying is, on the whole, before the Industrial Revolution, people were a more agrarian society that was much happier. So if you're like, well, what is it exactly that you want? I would like the vast majority of the people in the United States of America to drop dead tomorrow. That's what I would want. And the reason that I say that is because everything that I've been telling you here, they would disagree with. They're never going to be happy being the monkey in the jungle. it makes for a predicament. I'm happy with duct tape, paracord, and spray paint and shit to do it with. Like, whatever it is, whether it's a car, a gun, a knife, whatever, I'll find something. I like to do art. Okay? I happen to really like making weapons. And like that's another thing. Most people are not Leonardo da Vinci. I kind of am. Most people are not an artist that doesn't not have most of the artist hangups about peace. I have none of the artist hangups about peace. Like this is the thing where like the thing that the samurai learned that I know and that I'm trying to convey to you is that being an artist makes you better at being a martial artist. Okay, being a painter makes you better at being a rifleman. It's attention to detail. And yeah, I just paint rifles or whatever. But everybody has their thing. I paint all kinds of things. I like putting tiger stripes on shit. I hope someday everything that I do this is collectible. That's really what this is like, what do you want? Immortality. Can you get that? Yeah. You want to live forever? It's like the only way to live forever is to not live at all, basically. If that makes any sense. It's one of those like, what's his name? Achilles. Well, the version where Brad Pitt plays Achilles in the movie Troy. He says, that's why no one will remember your name because this kid doesn't want to fight a giant. That's kind of what I'm telling you. Is no one will ever remember your name because you just do what they say. People will remember me. That's my main goal. I don't care if I'm fucking penniless. I have a certain amount of wisdom, I think, and I like to dispense it in a semi-entertaining way. And really, I kind of think this laptop will last forever. And I really don't need anything else to do this show but this laptop. And if the laptop did crap out, I'd probably figure out a way to get a new one. That's something I do need on my list of preps with night vision is a fucking new laptop. It really fucking annoyed the shit out of me. I get messages about how basically that I'm depressed and paranoid and I shouldn't be playing with guns. Well, thank you very much, whoever that is. Like, I made a fucking 4-minute video telling someone to go fuck themselves. That's what that was about. I don't even remember what all I said in that. It's kind of a blur. I think on the Moon Tiger rifle, I'm gonna try to keep it cheap, and that might mean not buying some shit. The bolt carrier, I could probably just stake the one I've got. The barrel, you're gonna have to buy a barrel. I would like to buy a bolt carrier too, but like if I could put less money into the Moon Tiger thing, it would be better. I think immediately I'm gonna do shit that changes it drastically on the outside, so all of the cheap accessories and then I'm going to do the barrel. Then we'll worry about the guts of the rifle later. It's really the trigger is good, the buffer is good, and the bolt carriage needs to be staked. So if we could do that and upgrade the barrel, I'd be happy. I'm kind of thinking if I do upgrade the bolt carrier group, I'd kind of like to get a nickel one or a chrome one. I don't know. This has been 30 minutes of this. I think it's really kind of annoying anymore how the world is at a point where basically no one listens to each other, to the point that very few people would ever even hear anything that I have to say. And by that I mean, like, not about your rifle or whatever, but like about working 9 to 5 jobs to pay for shit that you don't even want. That's what I'm getting at, is you are operating in a world where you have to buy a house, have to have a family, and have to spend X amount of money every Christmas. And I'm telling you, that shit's control. That's, you know, it's a lot of control. I do a whole video on that, but basically it's the Roman Empire. And I'm sorry that you're a part of it. I'll see you guys later.